like that?
It's crazy, man. To be honest with you, you're the first one to tell me that I was his number 20. Like, what? This is UFC fight 20 for me?
Yeah.
Shut your butt.
Crazy.
This is crazy. That is wild, man.
Can you imagine, like, 10 years ago, because I think about it, 10 years ago, I remember your debut was the first fight of the night, right? And I mean, from there, did you at that time think, yeah, I bet I got about a decade plus here at the highest level. I see this thing panning out just like that.
Had no idea, man. I mean, I came in the game fairly late in my years, right? When it comes to MMA. I mean, I was like 28 or 29. But UFC 143, man, that one actually, I remember that one very well because George St. Pierre was actually in my corner. And MC Hammer actually walked me out to the arena, which was nuts. But man, 20 fights, it's wild. 40 years old, baby. I'm not the oldest one on the card, I don't think. How old is Blachowicz?
He's like 38, 39.
Okay, never mind.
Might be.
I might be the oldest one. Yeah.
Not on the roster, but maybe on the card.
Okay,
Right?
there you go.
We'll talk about the matchup because stylistically, Michelle, this looks like it should be a really, really fun fight. I mean, is that kind of your thoughts as well?
100%. I mean, Michelle Behead, I mean, you've seen the guy fight. He cuts flips. He runs across the cage. I do think he's going to be a little bit more. I think he's going to be smarter for this one. Higher altitude. He's been known to fatigue, so I think he's worked on that. He's come out here a little early, got used to acclimated to the altitude. So I still think he's going to do something crazy. Just to try to throw me off. I would expect him to try to get me up against the cage and try to control me there as well. So, wherever the fight goes, I'm going to be ready for it.
As much as he said he really did want to put on a show, he also did say, but it's a mixed martial arts fight. So.
See, I knew it, man. I knew it. I mean, even, me and Kevin Holland were saying that we're going to keep the fight standing. Of course, he started to shoot in as well. But, I mean, I believe that Michelle thinks he's the stronger body, so I do believe he's going to try to clinch me. I think he's going to try to close the gap, maybe cut off the cage, and try something crazy with me, with my back up against the cage. But I'm ready for it, baby. I'm ready. Me and my team are ready to rock and roll, put on a show for the fans here in UFC 291 in Salt Lake City. So we're ready to rock.
Last thing for me, I mean, when this fight was announced, right, it's like, oh, this is going to be great, stylistically, this is awesome. But, I mean, you're still number 7 in the division, right? And you said you're 40. I mean, still got time, but probably sooner rather than later if we're going to get up there to the top, right? So you win here. I mean, you're not really the calling out type guy, but do you start having to do that, like really call the shots of what I need to get next because, hey, I've only got so much left to go?
Yeah, man. I mean, with a good win over Michelle Behead, I feel like they should give me somebody that's ranked above me and then go from there. I mean, Leon Edwards, the last few guys that he has fought have been grapplers. So, why not, with another win, give him a striker, man. I mean, he's showed that he's a really well-rounded fighter, but when he started coming up in the UFC, he was mostly known as a striker. So I feel like he probably will want another striker to go against again. So instead of a wrestler. So come on, baby, let's go.
Michelle was in here, said he didn't bring anyone specific to prepare to fight you. Did you bring anyone specific to prepare for Michelle, considering he is a very unorthodox fighter? It's
crazy because the karate brings different styles to its game. I mean, usually when you go to an MMA gym, you see one guy fight, you've seen them all fight. More of the boxing or Muay Thai base, but with the karate, you got everything as well. So he comes from a karate background as well, and in capoeira, obviously. But the guys that I have training with me are, I think, just as good or even better at what he does. So I didn't really have to bring anybody in. I already had the guys in the gym.
Well, kind of going off of that, I'm sure you've been asked this before, but Michael Venom Page is a free agent. And a lot of fans kind of circle this fight as they want the winner of this to be the one, that if he does sign with the UFC, they want the winner of your fight to welcome him to the UFC. Is that a fight you would be interested in too, if possible?
You know what's crazy? I just became friends with this guy literally like a few months ago. Like we hung out for like a whole weekend, and it's like, dude, why do they want me to fight you now? Like, it's understandable, karate versus karate, right? But I think obviously it would be a fun match. But he's a good dude, man. I don't want to say I would want to fight him at this point because we have that we've grown that relationship now. But I mean, gets in the UFC, hats off to the guy, man. I think that's awesome.
If he did sign, if it wasn't you, who do you think they should match him up with first?
Oh man,
I would imagine
you have some You have some guys that Ian Gary would be a great one. I think that would be a good matchup. I know he's facing off against Jeff Neal, which I think would be a good test as well. There's some other strikers out there. Shavkat, I think, would be a good one too, because Venom Page brings not just the karate to the welterweight division, but his length and he's a very tall and very lengthy guy, and for a guy like him to have that karate base is very dangerous. So you've seen him do well against grapplers before too. There's so much you have to watch out for: flying knees, elbows. He crushes dudes' faces, so that's scary. You know what I mean? So I think that would be a good fight.
And final one for me. What are your thoughts on the main event between Dustin and Justin? Who do you think wins the BMF title?
Dude, I guess it could go the same way it did last time. I think Dustin Poirier's boxing and length, the way he's a very lengthy fighter as well. Gaethje, he's very durable, but I think he relies a little bit too much on his durability, so he takes a ton of shots, and that can get him in some trouble. So as the fight goes on, as these guys start to fatigue a little bit, the hands, Justin's known to drop his hands, and that's something that's what leaves him open for shots from Dustin. And Dustin's boxing is so clean, and he stays pretty much protected. I think it can go to the same way, but like I said, man, at this top, it's like a flip of a coin. But I see it kind of going the same way it did last time. Violent. I know.
Right over here. Your teammate, Weston Wilson, made his UFC debut a couple weeks ago. Didn't go his way, but nonetheless, I'm curious of what you thought of his performance, as he's fought a lot out here in Utah over the years.
Yes, he has, man. Former, I think he's a BYU graduate, and I was super happy for the guy. Very happy for him, man. I mean, to face off against somebody as deadly as his opponent on a 2 weeks notice, and having to cut like 25 pounds or 30 pounds in 2 weeks, ridiculous. But he went out there and did it anyway, and that's the thing. Like, he got a lot of backlash on social media, but who doesn't, right? I remember when I first got the UFC call, everybody was bashing me, and thank goodness the social media wasn't as big then as it is now. But just being there for a good teammate for him and saying, look, man, ignore it. Go out there and do your thing, but give it your all, right? Go out there and give it your all. He had a deep knee bar on the guy, which was pretty quick. Didn't hold on to it, but he got that experience now, and he knows what it's like. And hopefully, his next fight will get a full camp, and he'll look a ton better in his next fight. But super happy for him, man.
We saw on Embedded you were over at Agema. That's one of the top schools in the entire state. It has brought out a ton of different champions within the state itself. What were your thoughts of the school? What were your thoughts of getting to meet Dane and just the facility itself?
Man, the facility was awesome. And Dane, I got to go in there and watch the classes going on. Very, very knowledgeable. He's got some really tough guys in there. If you're local and you're looking for an MMA school, that is definitely the place to go. Dane is amazing. He's a former, obviously fought previously, very knowledgeable when it comes to the jiu-jitsu and striking. So it was awesome, and they made us feel welcome and felt at home. So that's why it fit well for us.
You started your competitive career back in 1999, February 1999, so 24 years. Over the course of that time, where have you seen the technicalities of striking or just combat at large change over that time?
Oh, man. Back in those days, it was a lot more like Dutch kickboxing-ish, You still see a lot of that. It's dominated by that style, but you're starting to get more guys that are understanding management, distance management, the movement, kind of similar to my style and Michael Venom Page's style, even old Connor's style. I say old Connor because I haven't seen him move like that in a while. But they're starting to understand that, and that's something that takes years of development. You can't just learn it, right now. It takes years to get the feel of it. So you're starting to see these guys, young guys, coming up who grew up doing MMA. Back then, you didn't have kids growing up in MMA. They came up in like either jiu-jitsu or some kind of striking. But now you're getting these MMA schools. You got the Gamma organization, which holds kids MMA, which is really cool. So you're starting to see some ridiculous kids coming up, and I can't imagine what it's going to be like 10 years from now. What we're going to see. So it's evolved a ton, and you're getting these guys who have started at a very young age at MMA, and you're seeing what they're doing now. It's just ridiculous.
Last question for me. Chris Weidman, how's he looking headed into his
He's
long
looking
wait?
good, man. I'm telling you, I better watch out. Some people were like, "Oh man, he needs to hang it up." I've been training with this guy for the past few weeks, and he's looking amazing. I mean, his mind's right. He's super positive. He's hitting harder than ever with that leg. He said in an interview not too long ago, that's the first thing he's going to do. I'm like, Chris, please don't do that. I was in your corner when you did that. Don't do that again, please. And but he's looking really good. So, after this fight, I know he's fighting 3 weeks after I step out there, but I'm going to go back and help any way that I can prepare for that fight. The guy doesn't take any easy fights. He's never taken an easy fight, and Brad Tavares has been in the game as long as we have, and he's very dangerous. So, I have my buddy Chris winning all day.
Hey, Steven. Is the offer still on the table for you for Tenacious D to release Wonder Man and then you change your name to Wonder Man?
If they come out with a song Wonder Man, I will change it to Wonder Man. All right? But I told Jack Black himself, I was like, look, as long as you have Wonder Boy out there, there's no Wonder Man. I will continue to be Wonder Boy. And he said himself, I think you heard it, we should come out with a song, Wonder Man. Wonder Man. I was like, you got to. If you do that, I'll be Wonder Man. I'll be Wonder Man. At 40, Wonder Boy, it's like, come on now.
Yeah, it makes sense. And finally, for me, were you one of the ones to put your name in to fight Jack Della Maddalena the other week?
I don't think so. I don't think I did. Dad, did you post something out there? I don't know. I don't think I did. But he's. I know that fight was kind of controversial. But they both look really incredible out there, and the guy's got good hands, good boxing, tough guy, tough welterweight. I see him moving up the rankings as his career goes on. That's for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
Wonder Boy, you were one of the guest coaches on this season of The Ultimate Fighter. I was just curious, your experience with that, your thoughts on Conor's coaching style, and who do you think would win between him and Chandler?
Man, it was a really cool experience. I was actually out there in Vegas at the time doing the Jose Cuervo commercial with Kevin Holland, and we ended up getting some content at the PI. And as soon as me and my brother walked in, I hear somebody call, "Yo, Wonder Boy!" I turn around, it's GSP getting a massage. Not GSP, Conor getting a massage, and I was like, "What the?" I didn't want to turn around and see anything inappropriate. You know what I mean? So I turned around. He was cool, man. We chatted for a little bit, and he asked how everything's going and what's next. And that night, I went to go get dinner. We was getting ready to head back to South Carolina. I get a call from him saying, "Hey, I want you to be a guest coach." I'm like, "I'm in. Let's make it happen." But it was a really cool experience in that, we all know who Conor is. We've seen Conor. But to be able to see Conor, I think the camera didn't really get a whole lot out of was how much he cares about his guys, and his coaching. And we don't get enough of that when it comes to Conor. And he showed that he really cares about his guys winning, seeing him out there coaching those guys and them being so tuned in to what he's saying. It was just really cool. And I've been teaching my whole life pretty much when it comes to the martial arts. And to see, I know a good teacher when I see one and somebody who actually cares. My dad always told me when it comes to that, people don't really care how much you know. They only want to know how much you care. And that was him the entire time. So, I got to work with his guys. And then the next day, I got to be a part of his training session. And I got to train with him. He got to train me while I was out there. And I can just see it in him. He was fired up. He got everybody fired up, which was awesome. And that's what it takes to be a good leader. And I wish that the camera got more of that, when it came to the show. So it was really cool, man. Really cool.
So who do you think's going to win that?
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. If they do fight, I don't even know if it's going to happen, but if they do fight, I think it would be I don't know, man. I think if Conor gets back to his roots of movement, right? Not just his boxing stance, but his movement. I think he could go the same way as it did was it Chad Mendez? Who was it? Who did he fight? I think it was Chad. I know. I think Chandler will come out very aggressively looking for the takedown. But Conor, man, I don't know if you've seen his hands, but he's got some mitts on him. Like his fist is like twice the size of my fist. It's ridiculous. He hits you. No wonder. I look at his fist. I was like, no wonder when you touch dudes with that hand, they go out. But, oh, man, I do believe Conor could win the fight. That's for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Steven over here. First of all, to break some bad news to you, you are 13 days older than Jan. So I'm sorry
Son
about
of
that.
a. Son of. Really? Am I 13 days older than him? So he's still 40.
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the oldest guy on the fight card this weekend.
You got asked about the BMF fight earlier, the coin flip. I'm just curious about what you think of the BMF premise in general. Do you like it? Do you not? Some people think it's gimmicky. Other people think, hey, man, it helps establish a legacy. Just where do you come down on that?
Yeah, I think it is kind of gimmicky. I mean, what does it really do for the UFC? But just put people in the seats, I guess, before people fight for it. I mean, at this point, it's like kind of being held up there as like a champion, and it's not. I don't even know what it is. I mean, you're not the meanest dude. You're just the baddest dude. If you're just the best fighter, why don't I fight for it then? Or anybody. I don't get it, but it puts people in the seats, and people are excited to see that happen and it being passed down. The question is, who really has the BMF now, right? Because Masvidal lost to, who did he lose to? Who was it? Should be Leon. Yeah, it should be Leon right now, right? Because he beat Gilbert. So it should be Leon. So it should be Leon. I heard Masvidal's in the house. I don't know if he's here this weekend, but I heard he is, to pass it on. But that was one fight I really wanted to see, was Masvidal and Leon. But, yeah, man, it's kind of gimmicky, but people like it. Now, if they had an NMF belt, I mean.
Yeah.
Yes,
Speaking
sir.
of Leon, who do you think is going to win out of Leon and Colby?
Oh, I got Leon winning it, man. I mean, you saw what Usman did to Colby the last two fights, right? Colby is not a big welterweight. Leon is a fairly big welterweight, a lot bigger than Colby. Colby's known for his cardio, but Leon showed in his last two fights that he's got the cardio with the best of them, right? And he's got the grappling to defend the takedown and get back up. Kamaru's a very strong wrestler. I think he's a lot stronger than Colby. So if Usman couldn't hold Leon down, I don't think Colby could. I think the fight stays standing and Leon picks him apart. That's kind of what I'm seeing from the fights that I've seen these guys face Usman in, right? And the thing is, like, it doesn't matter if it's first round or last round. You have to, watching his first fight with Colby, you have to be, you can't take this guy lightly as the fight goes on. He's dangerous every step of the way. When you think he was going to lose the fight and he throws that two-head kick, man, out of nowhere, puts him to sleep, that affects everybody in the division. Everybody's got to watch out for that now, right? So that's what makes Leon dangerous, is he's improved with everything. I mean, he's the only guy, I think, who's taken Usman down and controlled him for a round. Nobody's done that. So I don't see Colby having anything for him. Just the cardio base, just being in his face, but that's it. We good to go, guys? Sweet. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.